Clemson Hotline is on the air, a one-hour talk show giving Clemson fans a power hour of Tiger sports talk. Clemson Hotline is presented by y'all.com and brought to you by Amtrak. Clemson Hotline is direct from Tiger Country on a network of radio stations across the great state of South Carolina. And as always, a podcast edition of our show is available for download in iTunes. Hello, everyone. I'm Lawton Swan. Welcome back into the program. Glad to have you with us here. The draft weekend, it has come and it has gone. And I tell you what, it was a great weekend for the Clemson Tigers in the NFL draft, specifically DeAndre Hopkins, who didn't stun me and maybe didn't stun some of the experts, but there were some people out there who it did stun. But DeAndre Hopkins, drafted with the 27th pick to the Houston Texans, a fantastic opportunity for him. We'll talk about DeAndre Hopkins. We'll talk about Malachi Goodman, Meeks, Andre Ellington, and we'll also have a special guest here on the program. DeAndre McDaniel, former Clemson Tiger, joins us to talk about his playing days at Clemson. He'll go through the Clemson 10, and also we'll hear from him about draft night just a couple of years ago. A projected third-round pick was not drafted. So he's been through what some of these guys have been through and maybe what Andre Ellington was feeling as the draft rolled on into the sixth round before he got picked. All that, a whole lot more. Stay with us here on the John C. Calhoun Radio Network.
Mom, I had the best dream.
Well, good morning to you, too.
Okay, so I was a knight. I had a sword, and our house was a castle. There was this angry dragon. It was kind of scary.
Oh, yeah?
But I protected the castle.
Oh, that's my brave little man. I'm glad our castle is safe.
Your home is your castle, and sometimes you need help defending it. The National Association of Realtors supports maintaining homeowner tax incentives because they make home ownership more affordable for more families. Learn more at houselogic.com.
A winning team requires having great team members. If you're a landowner interested in selling timber or are considering buying or selling land, call the winning team of Cross Creek Timber and Cross Creek Realty, LLC today. Put the knowledge and skills of professional licensed foresters and realtors to work for your team. To learn more about services offered by Cross Creek Timber and Cross Creek Realty, LLC, visit www.crosscreektimber.com and easily follow the link to real estate or reach them by phone 864-517-3620 or 864-517-3621.
If you depend on prescription opioid painkillers or heroin to get through each day, you may ask yourself, how did I get here? Withdrawal and rehab seem like scary and difficult roads, but there is a different way. I know because I was just like you and I found it at turntohelpnow.com. At turntohelpnow.com, I learned about different ways to get help, including those in a private setting without the need for daily visits. Find your courage and go to turntohelpnow.com today.
Want to hear the sound of hassle-free traveling?
All aboard!
Amtrak takes the hassle out of traveling to over 500 destinations. You can stretch out in a spacious seat, relax in a sleeping car, and enjoy a hot meal in the dining car. And for those who want to kick back and take in the scenery, go right ahead. For everything you get on Amtrak, the one thing you won't get is this. So whether you're going to a family reunion or an away game, make it a whole lot nicer on Amtrak. Book your trip today at Amtrak.com or call 1-800-USA-RAIL.
All aboard!
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-838-5562. That's 1-800-838-5562. Call 1-800-838-5562.
The 1988 season was a great year for the Clemson Tigers, finishing 10-2 with a win over Oklahoma in the Citrus Bowl. But it was a better year for Clemson fans. That season, Tigertown Graphics became your source for custom tees, promotional items, and embroidery. Conveniently located in the heart of downtown Clemson, their retail store proudly displays Clemson shirts that are designed and printed directly on site. Whether you're looking for the latest Clemson t-shirts or ordering products for your school, organization, or business, Tigertown Graphics can help with all of your t-shirt needs. Find them online at www.tigertowngraphics.com. A Clemson tradition since 1988.
Hey there, Tiger fans. When you take yourself out to the ball game, make sure that you're staying at the Clemson University Conference Center and Inn. That's right, it's the closest hotel to Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Lakeside accommodations, complimentary continental breakfast bar with waffles, the Seasons by the Lake restaurant, Joe's Place Bar, and the Walker Golf Course are all waiting for you right around the corner from Doug Kingsmore Stadium. For reservations, contact General Manager Sharon Franks at sharonf@clemson.edu or call 1-888-654-9020 and ask to speak to Sharon. Buy yourself some peanuts and Cracker Jacks, but make sure that you stay at the Clemson University Conference Center and Inn.
I'm so Cassius Clay, I'm Tyson in his prime. You know league with, I'm Barry Bonds with mine. I beat the buzzer, baby. My stroke is hole in one. You see the checkered flag, finish line.
Welcome back into the Clemson Hotline. Thank you so much for being here. Lots of people in the chat room and some people checking us out on the new iPhone app for Spreecast. I know you can go to Facebook and check out ways to get to our program if you go to facebook.com/Clemson Sports Talk. Put that in all one word. It'll take you right to our main Facebook site. But, yeah, you can watch the program now on the go on your iPhone live. That's awesome. Pop us in your car. No matter where you are, tune in. Hashtag TN Talk on Twitter. You can email us throughout the week, Clemson81@gmail.com. And Craig actually did that this week. Craig was the one who put me onto the Spreecast app. I knew they were developing one, but I hadn't been following it closely enough, and I don't know if I'm just not signed up to receive the updates or the information that it came out, but it did, and it apparently is working pretty well. We've got a lot of people in the chat room. I'll try to address any questions you have if you put them in the screen queue below. That's the easiest way for me to keep up with things that are going on in the chat room. I can see it's getting pretty fired up in there, and we've also put a post on tigernet.com tonight to let people know that DeAndre McDaniel will be joining us. And I'm going to try not to mix the names up. I'm not going to mix it up when he's on the show. But with DeAndre Hopkins being drafted in the NFL draft in the first round with the 27th pick to the Houston Texans, I've kind of had those two names in my head, and you may have noticed earlier I struggled briefly with it just because of that fact, because just saying DeAndre and naturally you want to roll to Hopkins right now, but McDaniel's going to be joining us. But for DeAndre Hopkins, I tell you what, I'm not sure that he could have not landed in a better spot in the NFL right now. I mean, he's got a great running back, excellent opportunity there for him to come in and be the second-level wide receiver for them. I just feel like when you look at all the teams that had a chance to take this kid in the first round, it's the best place for him. Matt Schaub has shown that he's a very good quarterback. They're getting better. They're a playoff caliber team. And for him to be drafted and put into that situation is good. The other thing is he won't feel so far away from home. Reggie Herring, the linebackers coach there for the Texans, his son and DeAndre Hopkins were actually friends many years ago when Herring was the defensive coordinator at Clemson. So there's that bond and that relationship for him already out there. And the other thing that I think really works in his favor and really will help him down the road is having a guy like Andre Johnson on the opposite side of the field. That's going to allow DeAndre Hopkins to be much like in many situations that he was collegiately, not the number one focus of defenses. And we've seen, and they talked about it and praised him, we talked about it on TigerNet Talk, how this kid goes up and attacks the football. He goes up to attack it, and that's what's going to make him a really good target, I think, in the NFL. And it's funny, he got drafted, and I remember the text message he had sent because some of the questions that people had said about him was how fast he was. But he texted me after his interview when he was on the program with us a few months back and said, hey, you know what? Jerry Rice ran a 4.6. By the way, I'm faster than that, though. So, I don't know that he's ever going to go on, and I would never speculate that he would go on to that type of career, the Jerry Rice type of career. But congratulations to him. I think when you look at the numbers of what that exact draft spot got last season, I saw a post on TigerNet from the TigerNet staff. Hopkins went 27th. Last year, that pick got 4 years at $7.54 million with a $3.9 million signing bonus. Now, remember, in the NFL, nothing is guaranteed outside of what you get with your signing bonus and this year's contract. Everything else is basically, if you get hurt, you're done. So he's got a real chance to make a significant change to his lifestyle. And my hope for each and every one of these guys, whether you're talking Malachi Goodman, Jonathan Meeks, Andre Ellington, and some of those guys aren't going to make initially life-changing amounts of money with their signing bonus, but they could potentially with their contracts, is that these guys, if you saw the ESPN E60 episode on going broke and how guys lose so much money, my hope is that they will not squander this opportunity. Obviously, you go to school for so many years to get to that point, to make it to the NFL, and to get your education, which is key. I mean, that's always key, and that's one thing that DeAndre McDaniel said about coming back to Clemson for his senior year after having a great junior year. DeAndre McDaniel said the thing that he was most proud of about coming back was getting his degree, and we're obviously going to ask him about that when he comes on the program in just a few minutes. But, these guys having that opportunity to get their degree, to finish their career, some going into postgraduate programs, but still you get this money. The financial planning isn't really out there for these players. It doesn't exist. It's very difficult for these guys to all of a sudden be 22, 23 years old, most of which have come from very humble beginnings. Some would say even very poor beginnings, and then all of a sudden they've got more money than they've ever thought of having in their entire lives. I mean, that's something that I worry about for each and every one of these guys, but hopefully they'll be smarter than that. Lastly, I think two of the biggest surprises for me, one, Malachi Goodman going in the 4th round so early to the Atlanta Falcons, and secondly, Jonathan Meeks being drafted. He's not somebody we even had projected to be drafted when we spoke about the draft just the other day. That was a big surprise, and maybe some of you would say Andre Ellington followed him. But I think Andre's hamstring injury during the Combine hurt him more than anybody had anticipated. Stay with us. When we come back, DeAndre McDaniel joins us right here on the Clemson Hotline on the John C. Calhoun Radio Network.
I love the ninth inning. I love game 7. Bring on the competition. Cause in my heart, can't nobody do it better. Can't slow me down, won't stop me, never.
All right, we're going to call DeAndre McDaniel right now, so you'll have some dead air for just a few moments. Stay with us.
Coach Dabo Swinney of the Clemson Tigers, and you're listening to the Clemson Hotline on the John C. Calhoun Radio Network.
My goodness, I love when we get to run that Dabo Swinney promo because I know that we're going to be talking Clemson football, and I know you Clemson Tiger baseball fans are excited about how hot this Clemson Tiger baseball team has been as of late, winning this series against Georgia Tech this weekend, 2-1. Obviously, we're going to talk about that later in the program, but now we're joined by former Clemson Tiger safety DeAndre McDaniel. DeAndre joins us, and DeAndre, I thanked you before we came on the program, but I know Clemson Tiger fans are looking forward to hearing from you and just catching up with you. So how have you been, my man?
Man, I've been good, man. I'm up here in Charlotte right now, just working out, trying to get back into the NFL groove this year.
I heard that, and you talk about getting into the NFL groove. The draft has really, I think, done something great with moving it to having the Thursday, the initial, the Friday kickoff of it a little earlier in the week, giving people an opportunity to really check things out. Or actually, that is Thursday. My days are all messed up. Here we are on Sunday. But, that Thursday kickoff, getting that going for the first round, do you like having that a little bit more exclusive?
Yeah, I like it better. I like how they break down the first round just on that one day. I really like it that way.
Now, DeAndre Hopkins, a young man I know you know very well from your playing days at Clemson, a kid who grew up in the area. He goes with the 27th pick to the Houston Texans, and what'd you think about that selection for him, and what type of career do you think he can have there in Houston?
Well, I could tell you, I already knew he was going to be a great talent. I knew he was going to be drafted early ever since he got into Clemson. But with him going to the Texans, man, I think that was a great pickup by them. I mean, I think he's going to have a great career, especially being with Andre Johnson out there. I think it's the right place for him, the right fit.
Now, you're a guy who was projected to be picked in the third round coming out of Clemson, but unfortunately you weren't drafted. I'm sure you remember very much that day and kind of waiting for your name to be called and never having it called, but getting an opportunity with the Saints. But when you look at that day and maybe what an Andre Ellington went through, what kind of goes through your mind as a player as you're sitting there waiting to hear your name and maybe it doesn't get called?
Oh, man. That probably was the worst day of my life. I mean, just waiting. Waiting is the bad part. And, when you see some guys go in front of you and you're just like, wow, why I ain't been called yet? It's like the most frustrating day of your life. And, when I didn't get drafted and my name didn't get called, honestly, I'm real optimistic. So at the end of the day, once that day was over, that next day it was kind of like, okay, now I got to put a chip on my shoulder and I got to make sure when I get this free agent deal, I got to just make the best of it, make the most of it.
That's the voice of DeAndre McDaniel, former Clemson Tiger. Now, when some people were talking about maybe or speculating on some of the issues that went on with why you weren't drafted, it came down to an injured wrist. I know you've had a couple of years to heal. You said you're trying to train and get back into the NFL and get back caught up with the team. How's the wrist doing? Is there any reason that a team right now couldn't use a DeAndre McDaniel? Because from what Clemson Tiger fans saw on the field, there's definitely NFL talent there.
Well, yeah, I would love to tell the Clemson fans that's kind of what happened. It was my wrist. I kind of got bad advice on it. I never got surgery. I went into New Orleans with a broken wrist. I also went to San Diego with the same broken wrist when they told the world that I failed my physical. I know people probably kind of speculated that it was something else, but that was actually my wrist also. And I got surgery after I left San Diego, so that's why I missed all of last year. And now the wrist is doing good. I'm looking for a return this year. Well, actually, my agent's working real hard, so I'm kind of close to closing the deal real soon. So hopefully I'll be on the field in this this year's mini camp.
Awesome. That's great, DeAndre. Congratulations, and we'll definitely look forward to following you, and hopefully you'll end up with one of those teams that many people in the area tend to love. Golly, I was looking at the Buffalo Bills roster. No kidding, 5 guys from Clemson on the Buffalo Bills roster. So I don't know if you're going to land anywhere, but the odds are it's going to be in Buffalo at the rate they take Clemson players.
Oh, yeah, they got some great talent out there. They picked up some great guys, man. All the guys that they got on that roster right now, all great guys.
Now, there's one play in particular, and I know you probably get asked about it all the time, that many Clemson fans will always remember you for, and I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing because, there are a lot of greats that come through that don't have that marquee play, the Christian Ponder play. Tell us about it, what was going through your mind, because I know, being a guy who used to play sports, time seems to slow down when you're on the field in that moment. What was going through your mind as you pointed to Christian Ponder?
Man, honestly, if you want the truth, I was just having a kid moment. I was caught up into the crowd. I was caught up into the energy. I had no reason of pointing, and it just came through me, just point them out, and it just happened that way. I really had no reason to do it. I was just caught up. The crowd was crazy like always, but that was it was to another level.
Is that the one play that you replay in your mind the most?
Honestly, no, it's not. It's not. My favorite play, of all time, I guess, because it was when I picked off Matt Ryan. That's my favorite play of all time. It's out of him and Cam Newton. I love both of those interceptions.
Now, your senior season, the Clemson Tigers finished 6-7. Obviously, a disappointing end to your career. You come into that senior season after having 8 interceptions as a junior and an opportunity then maybe to have jumped to the NFL draft. Do you ever look back at that junior season? And I'm not one of those guys. You just said it. You're a positive guy. I'm not one of those guys that likes to live, in hindsight, because you can always say that. But do you ever think to yourself, man, what if I'd have left after my junior year?
I told you, that's how I am. I don't look back, and I don't make no. I feel like I ain't make no mistake. I did it how I wanted to. I wanted to come back for the fans. I loved it at Clemson. I went, even if I could do it again today, knowing that I didn't get drafted, I'd do the same thing. And I come back for my senior year. My grandma wanted me to come back and get my degree, so I think I made the right decision. And I felt like I was coming into the next season as the number 1 safety. And honestly, truthfully, I still felt like I was the number 1 safety. I just didn't get drafted because of an injury. So I wouldn't do anything over. The only thing I would do over is get my surgery on my own instead of listening to bad advice that I was getting.
DeAndre McDaniel joins us here on the Clemson Hotline. DeAndre, that makes Clemson Tiger fans proud. I told him before you came on this show that you said the one thing that made you so proud about coming back was that you had gotten your degree. I know that meant a lot to you. Stick around, Tiger fans. DeAndre is going to stay on with us through the break, and then we're going to put him through the Clemson 10, and we're going to ask him your questions from the chat room, Tiger fans. So stay with us here on the Clemson Hotline on the John C. Calhoun Radio Network.
I thought I'd grow up and I'd settle down. There was 10,000 girls up in Tiger Town, and it was heaven to me. I used to sneak downtown with my fake ID and watch Doug McCormick rock TDs on a Friday night.
Here's the secret to dazzling Mom this Mother's Day. Surprise her early with a gorgeous, unique, multicolored rose bouquet from FiestaRoses.com. Live, fresh-cut roses in jaw-dropping spring colors you've never seen before arrive long before Mother's Day, so Mom feels extra special. And that legendary FiestaRoses.com quality means her amazing, multicolored bouquet still lasts well past Mother's Day. Plus, it pays to call or click FiestaRoses.com right now. Use promo code MOTHER and save 20% by ordering early. Call 800-707-4833. Call now and remember to use the promo code MOTHER to save 20% by ordering early. Impress Mom that you didn't wait till the last minute. Go to FiestaRoses.com and use the promo code MOTHER to save 20%. Or call 800-707-4833. That's 800-707-4833. Or click FiestaRoses.com.
There's something about looking and feeling classy that everyone enjoys. Check out Edisto Outdoors, an apparel brand inspired by our southern animals and environment. These shirts feature soft-touch prints that will keep you looking your best in all types of weather. Look for Edisto Outdoors, coming soon to many fine retailers across the state, or visit www.edistooutdoors.com. Technical, comfortable, livable.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-645-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-645-MyTV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-645-MyTV. 1-855-645-MyTV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-645-MyTV. 1-855-645-MyTV.
Hey there, Tiger fans. When you take yourself out to the ball game, make sure that you're staying at the Clemson University Conference Center and Inn. That's right, it's the closest hotel to Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Lakeside accommodations, complimentary continental breakfast bar with waffles, the Seasons by the Lake restaurant, Joe's Place Bar, and the Walker Golf Course are all waiting for you right around the corner from Doug Kingsmore Stadium. For reservations, contact General Manager Sharon Franks at sharonf@clemson.edu or call 1-888-654-9020 and ask to speak to Sharon. Buy yourself some peanuts and Cracker Jacks, but make sure that you stay at the Clemson University Conference Center and Inn.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-838-5562. That's 1-800-838-5562. Call 1-800-838-5562.
G-Dog General Dentistry at Oak Grove is located on Highway 1 near the Barnyard Flea Market. Modern, relaxing dentistry with TVs and headphones in every room, nitrous and even oral sedation. Digital diagnostic x-rays for better quality and 85% less radiation exposure. And check out their new Clemson Patient Special. Mention that you heard about G-Dog here on the Clemson Sports Talk programs and receive an extra 5% off all services. If you don't have a regular dentist, go see my dentist. Dr. Rick Jackson at G-Dog. That's General Dentistry at Oak Grove.
Remember all the stories growing up as a kid about refrigerator Perry and just how hard
Clemson Hotline rolling along. I'm your host, Lawton Swan. Thank you so much for being here with us. DeAndre McDaniel joins us. I've tried hard, DeAndre. I'll be honest with you. I've tried hard. I knew all week I was going to be talking about DeAndre Hopkins and being drafted, and I knew I was having you on the program. I told the people before you came on, I said, I'm going to do everything I can to not say the wrong last name on the DeAndre McDaniel that I'm talking to on the program. So if I mess it up, man, I apologize. I've been talking.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
I've been talking Hopkins for weeks now, building up to the draft. But we were talking off the air about you being from Tallahassee. You've got the Seminoles in the backyard. You told me, you said, hey, they were my school coming up, but you switched to Clemson. Tell us a little bit about that.
And I mean, the biggest reason I switched to Clemson is because of Coach Sweeney, man. I mean, as far as recruiting goes, man, I mean, that was the best recruiter that I've seen, that my family seen coming out of household, man. I mean, that was just a great guy, people's person. I mean, always had my family laughing. I mean, my granddad was always against him. Like, he's going to the big bout, and then Sweeney just knew how to switch him over. He had my granddaddy going for Clemson, man. And I mean, that's just the kind of guy he is, man. You can't beat that.
Now, you obviously played for Bowden. You played for Dabo Sweeney, and you know, I was telling you off the air, there's so many guys that we've had come on the program, former Clemson players, and each and every one of you just are so well spoken and so well put together. And I think about how great you all are athletically and skilled on the field. But is there something in that the program, the DNA behind being a Clemson Tiger that's helped you guys, or has this always come naturally?
I mean, mainly it's naturally. I mean, as far as us being athletes, I mean, a lot of us are just used to the press, and we could talk to anyone. But I mean, Sweeney instilled that in us also. He also, the way he talks and lead us, we know how to follow. We know we got to follow. We know we have to. It's no other way. It's just he called it the Clemson way, and I mean that's the only way we know.
Chris in the chat room wants to know, did you ever talk to Christian Ponder after that possum hit, as he calls it?
Yeah, I talked to him. We actually talked at the ACC Media Days, and that's when we took a few of the pictures and everything. And then I actually talked to him after his surgery. And I talked to him then and made sure everything was going okay with that.
And that's the irony of the sport. I mean, you're never out there to technically injure somebody, but you know, when you, like you said, you get caught up in that moment, you're just trying to lay the boom, and the boom was definitely laid there in Death Valley. Clemson Swag in the chat room wants to know what your favorite game at Clemson was. What game was your favorite that you ever played in?
I think that was probably my favorite. Man. I mean, the team was. I mean, the fans was wired, the players was wired. We was trailing almost the whole game, and I mean, we turned it over basically in the fourth quarter and basically beat them like we wanted to.
DeAndre, now we're going to put you through a time-honored tradition for former Clemson Tigers. At least it's time-honored as in the past couple of years, but eventually it will be a time-honored tradition. The Clemson 10 here on the Clemson Hotline. First off, what does Clemson mean to you?
I mean, Clemson mean the world to me, man. I bleed orange. I mean, it's no other way around it. I mean, I'm a diehard. You can't tell me nothing about them.
Describe the first time you ran down the hill on game day.
Oh man, that was a Florida State game. I mean, that was my first year when we opened up Labor Day. I was basically about crying that game. It was the greatest feeling ever, man. Greatest.
Who's had the biggest influence on DeAndre McDaniel?
The biggest influence, and I would just say my grandmother, man. I mean, she been there with me through thick and thin. I mean, she's my biggest fan. She's my biggest fan everywhere I go. I mean, I love her to death. That's my biggest influence, just to keep pushing.
If you could snap your fingers right now, where's your favorite spot on campus? Where would you be?
Probably Esso Club. Eat some of that good food.
I think I got some people in the chat room that would join you, to be honest with you. I think we got some people there that would join you. Halfway through the Clemson 10, number 5, your greatest moment during your time at Clemson.
Graduation. I mean, crossing that stage. I mean, that was the biggest moment.
How about your toughest moment during your days in Clemson?
The toughest moment, I would say my troubles. I mean, when I got in trouble that time, I mean, that was a tough time. I mean, that was my toughest time. I mean, everybody on the team, they backed me. I mean, everybody had my back. But that was my toughest time there.
The most difficult class you ever took at Clemson?
Oh, man. The most difficult.
It was in Serene Hall. I guarantee it was in Serene Hall. Everybody's most difficult class was in Serene. If it wasn't, I'll be shocked.
Off the top, I don't know which one was my toughest class. I don't know. That's a question I have to skip. I don't know that one. The toughest class I took. I had some pretty okay classes, but I had some rough ones also, especially starting off.
What was the best stadium you ever played in on the road in a Clemson Tiger uniform?
Best stadium. Best stadium. I don't know. The best probably was, crowd-wise, probably was the Alabama game going into my sophomore year when we got beat down there. But that was probably the funnest game and best crowd there.
What's one thing most people don't know about DeAndre McDaniel?
athletically or?
Hey man, it's whatever. We've had all. I mean, I've had all kind of stuff come out during that question.
Well, I mean, they probably don't know I got 2 boys, and they're both for sale.
I heard that. Hey, I'm a father. I know the feeling sometimes myself. And finally, DeAndre, question 10. In 10 years, when Clemson fans look back, what do you hope they remember most about you?
Just my character. I mean, just the person that I am, man. I mean, I love the fans, and I mean, I love to always be there for them. You know, I mean, if they want a signature, they write me on Twitter, Facebook. I try to be the first one to reply to them. I mean, I just want them to remember my character, the kind of guy I am.
Awesome, DeAndre, man. I really appreciate you coming on, and we look forward to following you this year, and hopefully with a team in the NFL. Looking forward to hearing from you on that, and I know Clemson Tiger fans everywhere wish you the best of luck.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me on the show, man.
Absolutely. DeAndre McDaniel, ladies and gentlemen, former Clemson Tiger, joins us here on the Clemson Hotline. Thank you so much to him for being with us. I'll tell you what, every time we have a former player here on the program, I'm just so impressed with how, for one thing, how humble they are. It's amazing. And I know some of you probably say, well, Swanee, you always say this about the guys, but you go back through the archives. You know, we archive it all on ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Every single former player we have interviewed here on the program, and you can't say that one of them has come on and when they've left the program, you didn't love them more than when they came on. I mean, and you found out so much about them, too. They've been so open. I love it. And I'm going to ask DeAndre, and I'll text him as well. I hope he'll put out on Twitter. I'd love to find out what that difficult class was for him. I know so many of you who took classes over at Clemson found that one class that just finance, I think it was for me, finance or accounting, anything where they were trying to get me to depreciate something. I didn't appreciate it, so therefore I couldn't depreciate it, I guess you could say. Something funny that came up in the chat room, Chris Carey giving Martavis Bryant a little ribbing here. Says Bryant's toughest class is study hall. Oh, Martavis got it together, though. That's the good thing. I think he's going to be an elite wide receiver for Clemson. I know you look at this Clemson wide receiving group losing DeAndre Hopkins to the NFL. Who's the guy that's going to come in and fill that spot? Most likely it's Martavis Bryant. I think he's a kid that so many people are really hoping to see begin to develop. But, of course, with the way the depth chart breaks down with Watkins and Bryant playing the same position, it's going to be an awkward thing to, I think, figure out how to work both of those two guys in more frequently as you move them out to the boundary. But, you know, with this system, so many snaps, so many plays, it's going to be fun to watch because even after Sammy Watkins leaves next year, you assume, barring any injuries, that Sammy Watkins is going to leave and turn pro. Barring that, some injury, when Sammy Watkins leaves, then all of a sudden you've got Sharon Peake. Hopefully you've got Martavis Bryant. Those two guys coming to play each and every night the next season as seniors. But then again, you never know with those two guys. They have elite level talent. A big season for one of those two guys. There's no reason they might not break off and leave Clemson after 3 years. But that wide receiver class that came in just a couple of seasons ago, along with Chad Morris, it's amazing how much that's really transformed Clemson Tiger football, and that wide receiver position is certainly deep. Stay with us, Tiger fans. We'll be right back with more Clemson Hotline right after this.
Line up against me, we drop you on your head, boy. Death barely be jumping, whole stadium pumping. Best fans in the whole nation, and damn right we love them. C-L-E-M-S-O-N. We Clemson, we ballin', we all in. These boys can't hold us back.
All right, so this is the moment in the show where I told you we were going to move the clock ahead and skip that interview with B.J. Bennett. If you want to hear the whole interview, it's on TigerNet Talk. This past week's episode that came out on Wednesday. Of course, we'll be here Wednesday night at 9 o'clock this week as well. Hoping to have Brandon May on to talk about his new book, Diamond in the Rough. We'll put that out on Twitter if things change. So Brandon May, hopefully will be our guest here on the program. And so we're going to fast forward the clock just a little bit, and then we will get things rolling with the remaining few minutes of the show. So stay with us. Thank you. And I should mention it's going to come in on a commercial break. So as unexciting as that will be, I do apologize. And to hear the rest of that interview with B.J. Bennett, just go to www.clemsonsportstalk.com. That's where you can check that out. Thank you so much to him for joining us on TigerNet Talk. And, of course, this week on TigerNet Talk, we're hopefully going to have Brandon May with us. Brandon, who, of course, transferred from Clemson, but wrote a book called Diamond in the Rough. We'll have him on to talk about his book and a whole lot more. Stay with us, Tiger fans.
Excuse me if I sing a little loud.
Blake Austin of South Carolina Farm Bureau is an insurance agent you can count on to meet all your needs. Home, auto, health, life, you name it, Blake's got you covered, and he can save you on your yearly rates. Call him now for a free quote, 803-259-5008. That's 803-259-5008. Or just go to ClemsonSportsTalk.com and click on the Farm Bureau logo to be connected to Blake. Do like I do and work with the best agent around, and you can tweet that.
If you depend on prescription opioid painkillers or heroin to get through each day, you may ask yourself, how did I get here? Withdrawal and rehab seem like scary and difficult roads, but there is a different way. I know because I was just like you and I found it at turntohelpnow.com. At turntohelpnow.com, I learned about different ways to get help, including those in a private setting without the need for daily visits. Find your courage and go to turntohelpnow.com today.
A winning team requires having great team members. If you're a landowner interested in selling timber or are considering buying or selling land, call the winning team of Cross Creek Timber and Cross Creek Realty, LLC today. Put the knowledge and skills of professional, licensed foresters and realtors to work for your team. To learn more about the forestry and real estate services offered by Cross Creek Timber, call 864-517-3620 and Cross Creek Realty, LLC at 864-517-3621. Or visit www.crosscreektimber.com and easily follow the link to real estate.
Mom, I had the best dream.
Well, good morning to you, too.
Okay, so I was a knight. I had a sword, and our house was a castle. There was this angry dragon. It was kind of scary.
Oh, yeah?
But I protected the castle.
Oh, that's my brave little man. I'm glad our castle is safe.
Your home is your castle, and sometimes you need help defending it. The National Association of Realtors supports maintaining homeowner tax incentives because they make home ownership more affordable for more families. Learn more at houselogic.com.
Hey there, Tiger fans. When you take yourself out to the ball game, make sure that you're staying at the Clemson University Conference Center and Inn. That's right, it's the closest hotel to Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Lakeside accommodations, complimentary continental breakfast bar with waffles, the Seasons by the Lake restaurant, Joe's Place Bar, and the Walker Golf Course are all waiting for you right around the corner from Doug Kingsmore Stadium. For reservations, contact General Manager Sharon Franks at sharonf@clemson.edu or call 1-888-654-9020 and ask to speak to Sharon. Buy yourself some peanuts and Cracker Jacks, but make sure that you stay at the Clemson University Conference Center and Inn.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-838-5562. That's 1-800-838-5562. Call 1-800-838-5562.
Final few minutes of the program here. Thank you so much for being with us. And the amazing thing about the show now is you can listen on the go. If you have an iPhone, go ahead and get the app there, the Spreecast app. It's available, and you can listen to us while you're out and about doing whatever it is that you do. As Craig says, you assume that some of us have a life. Oh, Craig, don't be so hard on yourselves. You guys just enjoy talking Clemson sports, but now you can do it on the go. Now you don't have to be tied to a computer to do it live. Many people do download the podcast editions of the show. Thank you so much. As always, you can email, call, tweet to us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Email is clemson81@gmail.com. Twitter, we are at Clemson Sports, and you can tweet to us with a hashtag TNTalk. And you can call us anytime, 803-450-0086. Those phone lines are always open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Couple of final things I want to get to here. Andre Ellington, of course, drafted by Arizona. He won't be alone. Jerron Brown joins him out at Arizona, not drafted, but with a free agent contract. Brandon Ford goes to the Patriots. Hey, good for Brandon. That's a great opportunity for Brandon Ford with the Patriots. Hopefully he'll make the cut there. And then Tig Willard with the Titans. So a couple other guys picking up free agent contracts as well. We won't get into those in lieu of time, but I mentioned about the Bills having 5 Clemson players: Courtney Brown, Cresden Butler, Chris Hairston, Jonathan Meeks, and C.J. Spiller. They added also E.J. Manuel, Marquise Goodwin, and Robert Woods to their lineup there offensively. And I think for C.J. Spiller, man, that's good. Manuel from FSU, Goodwin from Texas, and Woods from Southern Cal. So I really like those opportunities there. And obviously, on Wednesday night show, we're going to have to get into a little bit of Clemson Tiger baseball. We mentioned the fact that they won the series against Georgia Tech, a fast series, man. I mean, the first game was like at 1:30 on Friday, and the last game was at 11 a.m. on Saturday because of weather. I mean, it was like less than 24 hours they'd played 3 ball games. The Tigers now at 30-14, 15-9 overall, continuing to play some very good baseball. And we'll talk about on Wednesday as well what we like to call our college football playoff expansion bracket as they get a little bit further. But we got all that and much more for you on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. And join us here for Clemson Hotline next Sunday night at 9 o'clock as well. Certainly thanks to all of our listeners and sponsors and DeAndre McDaniel for joining us. And I hope that we will be talking with Brandon May on Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. And I hope you'll be here with us. Thank you so much to everybody. And we'll see you next week right here on the Clemson Hotline. Until then, y'all take care now. And as always, go Tigers.